Hello, everyone. My name is David. I'm about to tell you a mysterious bus story that will leave you stunned. And if you don't believe in ghosts, after hearing today's story, you'll start believing in them. This story is from China. It's about a bus journey that set out for its destination, but never reached its intended destination. This story is from November 14th, 1995. It was nighttime, darkness all around, the road filled with fog. The weather was cold as November was underway. Bus number 375 from China departs on schedule from the Yuan Ming Huans bus terminal for Fragrant Hill. The bus was packed with passengers, but after traveling a few kilometers, one by one, passengers started getting off at their respective bus stops. After passing 2 stops, bus number 375 stops at the Summer Palace bus stop. At the bus stop, there was an elderly woman, a 19-year-old boy, and a couple standing. As soon as the bus stops, they board the bus. The young couple goes to the seat behind the driver, the boy sits on the seat next to the bus gate, and the elderly woman sits on the seat right behind the boy. Now there were a total of 6 people on the bus, 4 passengers and 2 bus employees. The bus starts moving towards its destination. The atmosphere inside the bus was very quiet. There were no humans visible anywhere along the road the bus was traveling on. Both inside and outside the bus, it was completely quiet. The environment was so calm that the sound of the bus engine was reaching the passengers' ears. After passing approximately 4 stops like this, the bus driver noticed 2 people standing by the roadside. Now the bus was completely empty. Only a driver and a female conductor remained on the bus. The journey to Fragrant Hill was still long, with 7 more stops to go. It was almost midnight. The road this bus was traveling on was quiet and peaceful, passing through villages and forests. After seeing this, at first the driver thought, I won't stop the bus, because where they were standing, there wasn't any bus stop. They were standing on a road amidst the jungle. Then upon the woman conductor's insistence, the driver stopped the bus because it was the last bus on this route and they wouldn't get another bus. As soon as the bus stopped, 2 people entered from the back door of the bus, and when the passengers and bus staff noticed them, they got scared because they weren't 2 people, but 3 people. Among them, the faces of 2 individuals were completely white, whiter than ordinary people, and the 3rd person was supported by them with his shoulder. The 3rd person's head was lowered, hair scattered, and his face was completely covered. All 3 people were wearing ancient Chinese clothes, which seemed quite strange to all the passengers traveling on the bus. The 3 individuals went to the last seat of the bus and sat down. In order to prevent unrest on the bus, the female conductor explained to the passengers, these people might work for a theater company, and due to the late hour, they might have forgotten to change out of their costumes in a hurry to go home. Bus number 375 continued ahead from here. Now there were a total of 9 people on the bus, 6 who were already on the bus, and 3 new passengers who had just boarded. The elderly woman who was already traveling on the bus kept looking back repeatedly. The next stop arrived, and the young couple got off at this stop. Bus number 375 resumed its journey towards its destination. Now there were only 7 people on the bus as it continued ahead. The elderly woman still kept glancing back at those 3 passengers. They seemed strange to her, but the rest of the passengers on the bus were busy with their own activities. The female conductor was busy talking to the driver, while the young man sitting in front of the elderly woman was busy looking out of the bus window. After going about 2-3 kilometers ahead, the elderly woman shouts loudly and slaps the young boy sitting in front of her and says, "Where is my purse?" Upon hearing this, the female conductor quickly approaches the elderly woman and says, "He didn't steal your purse. It's right in front of you." The boy also explained the same thing to the elderly woman, but she was adamant and began talking about handing the boy over to the police. The driver and the female conductor tried to reason with the elderly woman a lot, but she didn't understand and asked the driver to stop the bus at the next stop. As soon as the bus stopped, the elderly woman grabbed the boy's collar and pulled him down. The bus then proceeded towards its destination. The boy was very distressed by this incident. He said to the elderly woman, "I didn't steal your purse, and because of your false accusation, I missed my last bus. Now, how will I go home, and which police station are you taking me to? Because there is no police station nearby." After taking a long, deep breath, the elderly woman says to the boy, "I didn't take you off the bus to take you to the police station, and you didn't steal my purse either." "I accused you to save your life," the old woman said. "Remember those 3 people who boarded the bus last? I kept an eye on them the whole way. Right from the start, they seemed strange to me. While I was observing them during the journey, their clothes fluttered in the brisk wind for a moment, and I got scared because they didn't have legs. I couldn't believe my eyes. It felt like I was seeing a dream. I was constantly watching them, and then I saw the face of the 3rd person who was on their shoulders. Seeing that, I understood, he's not a human. I had to get off that bus as soon as possible and save your life too. So I falsely accused you to divert any suspicion from those people, and both of us could safely get off that bus." Upon hearing this, the boy said, "If this was true, then why didn't you inform the bus staff?" The elderly woman replied, "I did inform the female conductor about it, but she didn't take it seriously, and I felt betrayed by her response." The elderly woman and the boy immediately went to the police station and informed the police officers about the incident, but the police officers were skeptical of their words and advised them to go home. However, the police assured them that if such an incident had occurred, they would take appropriate action. The elderly woman and the boy each head to their respective homes, and the next morning, on November 15th, the police receive information that the bus route number 375 from Yuan Ming Huans bus terminal to Fragrant Hill is missing, and it hasn't reached its designated terminal yet. Upon receiving this information, the police understood that what the elderly woman and the boy were saying was true. Immediately, the police summoned the elderly woman and the boy to the police station, record their statements, and as soon as this news spreads like wildfire across Beijing, China, route number 375 bus is missing. Despite considerable effort and investigation by the police, no information about bus number 375 could be found. Even after scrutinizing all the CCTV cameras, there was no trace of that bus anywhere, leaving them clueless about its whereabouts. The date is November 16th. The police receive a report. A bus has fallen into the river. The police go to the scene and retrieve the bus from the river. The police are surprised because the bus that fell into the river was bus number 375. This bus was found by the police in a river about 100 kilometers away from Fragrant Hill. With the help of a crane, the police pulled the bus out of the river. Inside the bus were the bodies of 2 deceased individuals. One was the driver, and the other was a female conductor. What was shocking was that both of their bodies were completely decomposed, emitting a strong odor. The doctors present at the scene were shocked that dead bodies couldn't decompose so quickly in just 2 days, as it was November, and bodies don't decompose that fast in the cold. There were many other shocking things yet to be revealed. The bus driver explained that the bus didn't have enough fuel to go another 100 kilometers. When the police officers opened the bus's fuel tank, it was filled with fresh blood. This incident was the biggest event of 1995, and it was showcased on their channel by the Global Times newspaper. The police conducted thorough investigation, but couldn't find any leads. How did this bus manage to travel 100 kilometers without fuel? And why was it not captured on any CCTV camera? The identities and whereabouts of the 3 people who boarded the bus remain unknown to the police as well. This story still resonates in the hearts of the Chinese people. Even today, people are afraid to board the bus with route number 375 at night. Now, there's another story. It's about a boy named Ajit who lives in Rajasthan, India, and Ajit is narrating this story. After losing my job when I returned home, I had to face many taunts. It was also difficult to adjust to the family atmosphere again. But the most trouble occurred when my family sold my bed. My elder brother gave me some money to buy a new bed, but with that amount I couldn't afford even a used one. When I inquired at the store, I couldn't find anything within that budget. But a man from the neighboring house who had been observing me came out and said that he had an old bed here and he would give it to me cheaply. When he showed the bed, it was in perfect condition, almost like new, but the man didn't ask for much money. Upon seeing this, I was surprised, but considering my benefit, I said nothing. After having dinner, I breathed a sigh of relief that at least now I had a place to sleep. After wandering for a while, I laid down on the bed and tried to sleep. As I was falling asleep, it felt like suddenly someone pushed me on my cot and then shoved me into a pit. My whole body was in pain. Waking up with a scream, I was drenched in sweat. I thought it might be a bad dream, so I tried to sleep again. But as soon as I lay on the cot, it felt like someone was gripping my shoulders and holding onto my feet. Again, my whole body started to ache. Even though I wanted to, I couldn't get up. What was astonishing was that this wasn't a dream. Someone was indeed gripping my body. Upon hearing my scream, all the family members immediately rushed in, and upon their arrival, all these strange things stopped. Saying it was a bad dream, they told me to go back to sleep, but now I didn't have the courage to sit on the cot again. That night, I spent on the ground, but the next day, I felt that perhaps what happened last night was all just a delusion of mine. Trying to reassure myself, I slept again on the same cot the next night. I couldn't sleep for a while. Then, when nothing strange happened for a while, I closed my eyes. But in the middle of the night, once again, I felt someone pulling my body from behind. I couldn't move forward because it felt like someone had tied my legs with chains. Then I felt the same excruciating pain of twisting my body. I screamed before I heard a voice. It was an old woman's voice filled with anger, saying, "Why did you come to my place after all? This is my bed. Get out of here." The voice kept echoing around me for a long time. Then she came so close that it seemed the voice was coming out of my own mind, not from outside. Along with my body, my head was also splitting now. Suddenly, I felt like my mother was calling me. Her voice shattered my sleep. When I woke up, I was drenched in sweat. My mother was standing beside me, looking extremely worried. When I looked at my feet, I saw marks of rope and scratches, and I was startled too. I realized what I was feeling was not a dream. As soon as morning came, I lifted that cot and threw it outside. After a while, the cot wasn't there anymore. Surely someone must have taken it away. The next night I spent on the ground, but the thought of that cot didn't let me sleep. With little sleep, I woke up in the morning, and I found a man outside the house along with that cot, filled with anger. Why did I leave such a dangerous cot outside like that? Jolts, pain, and bad dreams, it didn't spare anything. That cot saying all that, he left the cot there. I understood at least that I'm not crazy, and there's indeed something wrong with that cot. I took that cot inside and thought of sleeping on it again that night, so I could finally figure out whose voice it was, that of the elderly woman. But it was the biggest mistake of my life. There was neither pain in my body nor any jerks, and soon sleep came too. But after a while, that woman's voice came again. Screaming, she said, "You're back again. Why don't you let me sleep peacefully? This is my place to sleep. Go away from here." As she said this, excruciating pain started surging through my body. It felt like I was falling heavily from somewhere above. After a while, all of this stopped, but it felt like the cot was swaying in the air, as if someone was lifting it on their shoulders, taking it somewhere. I was trembling with fear. As fear surrounded me from all sides, I was asleep. Yet I could still feel everything. Suddenly, my breath started to choke. I lowered my head to see again, and there was fire all around the bed. I tried to scream, but no sound came from my throat. Yet moments later, my hands and feet suddenly freed themselves. I immediately sat up, but what I saw sent shivers down my spine. A terrifying old woman was sitting right in front of me. At the sight of her, I screamed, and my sleep shattered. With sweating, and I began to look around, but everything was perfectly normal. Only my body was wounded, and I have scratches on my body. I understood this bed was the place where an old woman used to sleep, who perhaps is no longer in this world, and her spirit prefers to sleep on this very bed. The next morning, I gave that cot back to the man from whom I had bought it. When I told him about all these things, it turned out that his mother had passed away on this cot just a few days ago. Since then, he had kept the cot empty in his room so that his mother could now sleep peacefully. Anyway, whatever it is, I will never forget that dreadful experience of that old cot. So, that was Ajit's story. So friends, if you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Thank you.